chest and with it all to bear.
West Coast star Andrew Gaff is certain to get a long suspension for his hit on Docker Andrew Brayshaw after the match review officer Michael Christian gave the incident the highest grading possible: intentional contact with severe impact to the head.
Certainly it's the highest grading that you can get: intentional, severe and contact to the head.
Fremantle's Michael Johnson has also been charged with rough conduct against Gaff and can accept a $2,000 fine.
Gaff digging deep. Oh, he was there and they got him. A volatile situation. Combustible.
5 players also received fines for engaging in a melee. And West Coast coach Adam Simpson joins me live now. Adam, welcome. 24 hours on. Do you know what happened yesterday? Why Andrew Gaff lashed out the way he did?
Oh, look, first of all, we need to, pass on our best wishes to Andrew Brayshaw and his family. It's, a really disappointing incident that we need to own and Andrew needs to own. But, unfortunately, it's gone to the tribunal and we need to work through that tomorrow. No, I don't know why. I think it was grossly out of character and something that Andrew's very disappointed in. And we work through the process tomorrow. I mean, there's been a lot of speculation, innuendo today, a bit of trial by media, but we'll work through the tribunal tomorrow, and we need to own it, like we said, and we need to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
You said you weren't sure if the hit was intentional. What did you mean by that, Adam?
Well, hand on heart, and knowing Andrew and speaking to him post-game, he legitimately said to me he didn't mean to hit him in the head. Now, we need to, like I said, we need to own the incident, and he did, and there's going to be consequences, but I think about 30 seconds before and he hit him in the chest, and I think he tried to do the same thing and he got it horribly wrong. So, like I said, we need to own the situation, but, Andrew's devastated. He's really disappointed in himself and we've let himself down and the club. But, like I said, he's not the victim, of course, we know that. It's our thoughts with Andrew Brayshaw, but we'll work through it tomorrow.
Appreciate those sentiments. I'm sure they will as well. You've heard it said that there are cultural issues at West Coast. What do you say to that?
And I haven't heard that, mate, so you can elaborate a little bit if you like.
Well, it's been written about and it's been said. It was said after the incident with the camera operator at the airport with Nick Natanui's arrival. Is there a cultural issue at the club?
I don't think there's a cultural issue at the football club.
An arrogance issue, perhaps?
An arrogance issue?
Well, no, an arrogance issue in that a player, whether they felt compelled... I don't know what that's
got to do with Andrew Gaff getting reported and taken to the tribunal.
I guess what I'm saying is there a perception at the club that players can do what they want to do?
I think you're getting caught up with the media storm today, mate, so I think we need to leave it at that.
Will Andrew go to the tribunal in Melbourne, Adam?
I'm not sure. We'll work through that tonight, but if he has to go, he will.
OK, we appreciate you taking the questions. Thanks for being here. Chat next week.
I didn't actually see the incident, so I was more... I saw Brayshaw come off, so it was more trying to console him a little bit and then trying to get him to refocus on what we needed to do. So I was a little bit unaware of the magnitude of what happened, but at the same time I saw some distress there and I tried to calm him down as best I could.
Yeah, and a lot of people, and even your own fans, some have said, and whether it be on social media or on television or in the street, have said, why did you put him back on, considering the way he was and the incident that had taken place? Yeah,
I've been asked that a bit too. Part of it, you've got minutes to make a decision. I didn't know the full details of what happened, but I don't think I would have changed what the decision. Like, we would have had 2 left on the bench. We played him in a different position and we got through, and in the end, having him sitting there on the bench for a quarter and a half may have caused even more and more focus on the young man, which we're really trying to look after.
How is he doing?
He's struggling, yeah. So he's with his family at the moment. There's been an illness with his father. It's serious, so our full support is with Andrew and has been since the minute it happened. This is really unfortunate what's happened with his family, so he's going to spend some time with them, and the discussions around contracts and coulda, woulda, shoulda, all that sort of stuff is we just park all that and just let him be with his family.
Do you park the same with Scott Lycett?
No, I'm putting heat on him. No, he's working through obviously the same situation contract-wise as Andrew, and we love him just like we love Gaffy, and we want him to stay. So we're doing everything we can.
Sam Mitchell leaving and letting the club know that he's going on the eve of a finals campaign. He's your midfield coach, or part of the midfield coaching group. Are you disappointed, or is there any anger?
No, there's no anger. There's disappointment though, because I really rate Sam and obviously his family. But when a decision's made and it's because of your family, you've got to respect that. So he didn't tell us 3 weeks ago. He told us very early in the season. So no, I'm not angry. No, we're going to find a new coach. That's another bit of work we've got to do, and we're going to miss Sam because he's a young, developing, really good midfield coach. Did
you get peeved with questions about your culture?
Well, I question what people are trying to do when they talk about that, because I don't know if people actually can describe what culture is.
What is your culture, do you think?
It's about people and care. So we're really clear about what we need to do. The players have a trademark they live by, the club lives by its values, and we get things wrong sometimes. But that's not to say there's a poor culture. And I think out of all the things you can say to someone, especially when you're a leader within the industry or a club, to question that, you do get your back up. That's the one thing that I was disappointed in, some of the things that were said.
Where's that Nui? He's up. Got a hand on it. One paw. Lays the tackle on Smith. Wrapped him up. It's ball. Hawkins on hands and knees. Threads it through traffic. Dangerfield loops it out to Menegola. Back inside against the grain. Gone. Could have been ball. Nat Nui wore Parfitt like a suit. Wrapped him up. Took him down. And the ball cleared towards Rioli. They want to keep them accountable, Port. They need to get back inside. Whoa, look at that tackle.
What a tackle by Nick Natanui, who was buried Amon into the extremely hard turf at Optus Stadium. He's a little sore to get back to his feet.
Here's his tackle, Jared. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's in the back. That's a good call from the umpire.
So Michael Christian is with us, the match review officer. Welcome, Chriso.
Hi, Matt.
Lots to talk about here on AFL.com.au today, beginning with Nick Natanui, the West Coast Eagles superstar. You've suspended him, or offered him at least, a one-game ban.
Yeah, for a dangerous tackle. The provisions around dangerous tackles talk about whether it's unreasonable in the circumstances. And you can see Nick grabbing Carl Amon here and driving him into the ground with excessive force, and that clearly comes under the category of a dangerous tackle. Once the conduct is determined, then it's a level of impact, and certainly the grading was medium, and that was consistent with the medical report we received from Port Adelaide. Amon came off the ground shortly after that tackle, certainly enough to get into the medium grading.
What was Nick's alternative, though?
In terms of the tackle?
Yeah.
Well, what we'd like to see, instead of driving into the ground with arms pinned with excessive force, like to see Nick try and roll him and come down pretty much at the same time, rather than being on top of him and driving him with excessive force into the ground. So that's the alternative, to try and roll with the tackle. At
some point, does the size difference between the two players come into it? Because Nick obviously came towards the ground with that force, potentially, because he obviously is a big guy.
So you're suggesting that Aaron Sandilands, whenever he bumps people in the head, that it's okay because he's tall?
Not at all. I'm just providing a counter-argument, Chriso.
No.
People are going to look at that and go, well, what could Nick have done?
I mean, the reality is that, unfortunately, in our game, players have to show a duty of care, and it's not within the rules where we can allow the taller players to go around and, for example, bump players in the head just because they're taller. I mean, the game would turn into carnage. So the reality is that each player must show a duty of care, and in this particular case, don't think that Nick showed a duty of care towards Carl Amon. The tackle was unreasonable in the circumstances, in that he drove him into the ground with excessive force. And to answer your question, he needed to roll with the tackle and not drive with excessive force. That's the answer.
All right, there's your explanation from Michael Christian. There is.
This is Liam Ryan's damaged car after it crashed into a tree in Devonshire Terrace, Armidale, early this morning. This is the tree the car crashed into with some force. Chunks of bark ripped off it and a Toyota vehicle bonnet badge lying nearby. The club and police are saying little about the incident.
Club's just trying to get an understanding of what has happened with Liam, because with all players at our club, we want to make sure that they're looked after and welfare is going well.
Police say one of its patrols attended just after 6 a.m. and took a 21-year-old Lathlane man to Armidale Hospital. One neighbour said she heard a couple of bangs about 5:30 in the morning and raised voices. She thought several people were arguing, but she was too frightened to come outside and take a look. It's believed Ryan left the hospital a few hours later with West Coast Eagles officials.
The belief is that I think he's okay. So I don't think there's been any major incident or injury to him.
The mother of Liam Ryan's partner told me he is dealing with personal struggles and he should be left alone. The electrifying young forward has struggled to find his early season form after several weeks out with injury. Today, Eagles players closed ranks around their popular teammate.
How's Liam Ryan going? I don't know. I haven't seen him.
The police say no charges have been laid against Liam Ryan.
I'm back.
Jeff Parry, 7 News.
West Coast Eagle Liam Ryan will face Armidale Court this morning, charged with drink driving. The Premiership player allegedly crashed his Toyota RAV4 into a tree in July and was found by police nearby at a park in Armidale. Officers charged the Livewire forward on the eve of the grand final after receiving blood results. The 22-year-old is accused of exceeding .08. At the time, the Eagles suspended him for 2 games.
That has Adam Simpson right now fearing the worst for his man Nick Naitanui. Again,
grabs it straight away, doesn't it?
It's not the one that he's had done, it's his other knee, but just watching the face of Adam Simpson there, that is a huge, huge concern, and betting markets around the country would be taking note.
So one gun kicks his 3rd goal.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, the vision from the rooms does not look good for Nick Naitanui.
He's not coming back on, you wouldn't think, Hutto, with that. We're not sure exactly the nature of it. Maybe a hip has been a suggestion.
Simo, thanks for your time. It's a bittersweet one by the looks of it. A fantastic performance, but Nick Nat's the story. What can you tell us?
We don't know yet, but it doesn't look great. So we've got our fingers crossed for him. It's it's just unfortunate. It's his other knee, so it's put a bit of a dampener on the environment. But we're really proud of the players today to get it done after a bit of a shaky start and then to respond the way they did. We're just really proud.
How's Nick in himself? How's his spirits? How's he feeling?
And this is the thing, he's such a loving person, and no one ever says a bad word about Nick Nat. So he's resilient. He'll be okay, but bit of pill to swallow at the moment.
This one's affected you, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, I'm not very good at this stuff, dealing with it. But I think you've got to show your emotion at Footy Club, and that's what we're all about. And we're here to support him and support the players around him.
To separate that a fraction, which is really hard to do. It was an enormous performance by the troops, knowing what's happened to Nick Nat at half-time to pick themselves up.
I'm not quite sure if the players knew, but just to see Scott Lycett carry the load was really pleasing. And Collingwood played a little bit differently at the start of the game, and we adjusted pretty well after quarter time. And Hutchings doing a role on side bottom, and a couple of things that the players did. They really stood up and broke a bit of a hoodoo, I suppose, and the commentary might quieten down a little bit this year on the MCG conversation.
Oh, mate, I don't know what to say to you. I feel for you. It's a sickening blow. We feel for Nick Nat, but again, great win and well done.
Yeah, thanks, King. Cheers.
There was an unsavoury clash from a media perspective at the airport last night. It was reasonably natural that it was going to be documented as he returned and those shots would happen.
That's an Eagles official pushing cameramen away.
That's just silly behaviour.
I think it is. It's painting out. You know, when I see these pictures outside magistrates' courts and stuff, we're not treating Nick Naitanui. He looks like a criminal. He's not.
No one's in his personal space.
No one. They're from afar, and the guy's pushed it. Did he raise an arm then at the end? That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I think if the media makes a mistake, we put our hands up. We do. The Eagles should apologise for that. That looks ridiculous. Because you know what? We just care about Nick Nat, and that's the name of the game. He gets filmed doing great things, and unfortunately, when things go bad like they have at the moment, it's part of the news cycle, which is worth $2.5 billion.
Yeah. If anybody's jostling him in that position, then absolutely.
No doubt.
But that seemed to be a respectful distance, documenting what was going on. And that's an
But they only care for
clash.
Nick Nat as well.
Yeah.
They
So everyone's
care.
overly emotional.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
But they didn't have to go there.
Forward. Shepherd's a good player. Just attacked it and pounded it out to the wing. Is it going to be called deliberate?
I reckon Brad Shepherd's done his hamstring. I reckon he is gone, and it's a bad one.
It was this mechanism here. We got pushed. That's how, not quite as severe, but Adam Treloar did his hamstrings when he was pushed, when he was off balance. That was a similar mechanism.
Darling couldn't mark between two, and he's gone down awkwardly. Jack Darling as well. He's clutching at that ankle straight away. Darling in a lot of pain right now. That is a big story.
Pretty frustrating. I was on crutches for 11 days, so that was hard around the house, helping out at home and stuff like that. It was a bit annoying.
Jack landed on his opponent's foot at the time during the game and basically rolled his ankle, had a fairly significant ankle sprain. Once we did the scans, we discovered that he'd also caused a little fracture in one of the bones of his foot. We knew that he would probably be 2 to 3 weeks off running, and then it would be a rebuild into running and then into training, and then obviously once he'd ticked a lot of boxes, he'd be available to play.
I hate being in rehab. It's more the headspace sort of thing. Like I like to be in the club to get it right, but then again, I don't want to be in the club being, you know, a bit of a spare, you know what, around the club. So yeah, it's a bit hard. You know, you just want to be playing. I like to go in, do your stuff, and then sort of get away from the club, but still have interaction with the boys. So it's a bit of a balance. So that was different for me, missing 4 weeks. So that was hard to get my head around. But in the big scheme of things, you got a family and stuff like that. So it takes your mind off the footy side of things and bigger picture. It's just a game in the end. So that made it a lot easier.
The Eagles back inside 50 towards Darling, who's got it again.
Waterman stays down. Darling! Great hands! Darling front spot with the second grab. Darling! He's the danger man.
It is disappointing for him. He was in a great space on and off the field, and playing really consistent, good team footy and probably in career best form. But he'll bounce back from that. He's been going really well in rehab. I'm sure he'll be hungry to come back and try and get back to that sort of form he was in.
I know my role, consistency, just teammates backing me in a bit more, good pre-season, just a whole lot of 1%ers, I guess. And just knowing my role and knowing how to use my body and my strengths and stuff like that sort of just come together.
Looking for Darling! What a huge leap and grab in the middle of the pack by Jack Darling.
It certainly does present a challenge when you've got a guy on your side who's been in career best form, and he's been a real integral part of our structural side of our game. To not have that for the last period of time that he's been out, it's been really challenging, but it just meant that other guys have had to come in and try and play that role for him. So to have him back, we'll certainly welcome him with open arms.
Yeah, so I sat on a couple of the boys' reviews with Jamie Graham, just trying to educate a little bit. Yeah, moving Gov forward, that's a pretty brave move, and he's stood up pretty well, been good in the contest. And Scotty Lyce has spent a bit more time up forward, and Fraser came in, played a pretty important role. So good to get back on the winners board, and hope when I get back, that's other things. I've got 7 more games left till finals, so hopefully I can get back in some of that form.
Obviously pre-season was pretty interrupted this year. I had surgery probably late December, which was a bit of a risk, but in the end it was the best decision because I was able to slowly build back up and be pain-free, which is something I hadn't been for a while. So for me personally, it's been a bit of an up and down year. Obviously missed the first 3 games, come back off that surgery and then get back playing, and then go down with the leg, play a couple and then back out again. So, the fitness staff been fantastic with me. I've had a lot of injuries over my career, and I think I understand my body. I think our fitness staff probably know my body better than me. They know when I'm right to go and when I'm not, and we've got a really important part of the last part of this year that I want to make sure we get right, and I want to be, I suppose, at my best and be able to play rather than letting the team down just because I come back a bit earlier.
Rioli, that's the deft touch. A deft touch with great vision, and Kennedy will line up from 50.
To see the first year players and second, even third year guys I suppose, come into the team and just excel, which is what we expect from them. But, sometimes it takes a while for them to get it. They've all been pretty switched on and cluey on what to do, understand their bodies, to get their bodies right, to be up to scratch, to be able to play AFL. And we've seen it this year. We've a lot of our first-year guys have played a game, whether it's one or many. And that's something that, I suppose, as an older player, is pretty exciting, because in a year where the team's going so well and you win a lot of games, sometimes the first, second, third year boys, young boys don't get a look. But we've had a lot of them play this year, and a lot of them have made a massive impact in I suppose, getting that result. We're where we are at the moment, which is really exciting to see. It kind of drives you, I suppose, a bit to get back out there and play amongst them, because it's exciting times for the football club, knowing that, I suppose, in a few years' time when you do leave, it's in pretty good stead.
Looking for Darling again. Tomlinson one-on-one this time. Darling so brave. What a mark.
It's been a fantastic year for Jack and the way he's gone about his pre-season, into obviously slipping into a role where, we don't have the same look as we have for previous years. And for him this year, it's another pre-season, it's another year of maturity. And he's really grown into, I suppose, just taking his opportunities and playing his role, which, he's always done in the past. He's always, put himself in those opportunities. And this year he seemed to have taken them. And it's been fantastic to see. He's growing with confidence. And, in terms of the target player up forward, we're not relying on one bloke. It's spread, and it's not only Jack, it's Lecker, it's Cripper, it's Willie Rioli, it's all these guys now coming in the mix, which is fantastic to see, because you don't want to just have one or two avenues to go. You want to be able to be unpredictable to the opposition. So, look, it's been really exciting for a lot of the forwards, and to see what Jack's doing this year, it's been great to watch.
Here, Darling too strong for College Asney and snaps an easy goal in the end.
It's just been fantastic to see the side going so well, the position that the boys have put themselves in for coming up in leading into finals. So I'm hopefully going to be back soon, and hopefully be a part of that finals campaign, which is what the boys have done really well to be able to set that up this year.
There's your siren. The West Coast Eagles are through.
I think internally we were always optimistic about how we perform, and to get there, I think the guys have done a terrific job.
It's great to see the learnings and the improvements of everyone, but also just understanding of the game. So we've just got a great opportunity this week.
With the 7th grand final appearance now locked away, the Eagles have hit back at ongoing criticism of the club's culture.
Oh, naturally it offends you when people are questioning what you're doing internally.
2 controversial moments this year created hugely negative feedback. The fallout from the Andrew Gaff Derby strike prompted a headline which cut deeply.
Of course we try to protect our own, that goes without saying. The nature of elite sport makes you do that.
Just weeks earlier, following Nick Natanui's season-ending injury, Eagles integrity officer Peter Staples was in hot water after confronting cameramen at Perth Airport.
It's not water off a duck's back by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, if we get criticism over things we get wrong, we deserve it.
I think all the players have their heart in the right place, want to do the right thing.
Under scrutiny on and off the field, the Eagles are acutely aware of the public's expectations.
I'm quite comfortable and very happy with all the players. We've got no list about what they are as people and what they stand for.
Our culture is based around people. We try to look after people like most organisations do.
Whether it's visiting sick kids or going into bat for the environment, the Eagles' influence in WA is enormous.
And we try to help the community and people externally as well whenever we can. So from a cultural point of view, I think we're well placed.
On the field, it's been a particularly challenging second half of the season, losing 3 A-graders, Nick Natanui, Andrew Gaff and Brad Shepherd. The latter's hamstring injury opening the way for Will Schofield to play in another grand final.
Look, he's been extremely positive. It's tough to put myself in his shoes, really.
Will missed selection for the qualifying final, a decision described by Adam Simpson as one of his toughest as coach.
Obviously, for me, it was... I don't want to say devastating, but it was really disappointing. You want to be in the team at the end of the year.
The veteran is back, ready to play his part in defence against Collingwood in the Premiership decider.
I think the back line, that's usually the tightest group in the footy club. You got the midfielders, they get paid the big bucks. You got the forward line, they're the Hollywood boys, and then back line are just the scrubbers down back getting it done.
2018, a season where the Eagles have lived up to their long-held motto.
At least give ourselves a chance, and that is to make the finals first, make the top 4 if you can, then the top 2, and here we are. We've got a chance at it.